We all live by the clock, right? But have you ever stopped to think about what time actually is? I mean, we talk about saving it, wasting it, feeling it just fly by. But what if that core idea we have, that time flows like a river, what if that's just completely wrong? Well, that's the wild question we're going to dig into today. Way back when, the philosopher René Descartes said something that really hits the nail on the head here. He said if you give clear definitions to words, you get rid of a huge amount of human error. And that's exactly where we need to start. Because when it comes to something as fundamental as time, maybe the words we use, the metaphors, maybe they're the real problem. So let's see if we can find a better definition.
Seriously, try it for a second. Can you define time without using the word time? Or without saying it passes or flows? It's way harder than you think, right? And that is the central mystery we're going to unravel.
So let's start with our common intuitive understanding. The go-to metaphor, the one we all use, is that time is like a river. It just flows. It's always moving forward, carrying us from a past we can't change through this tiny little moment of now and into a future we can't see. And it feels right, doesn't it? It just feels correct. And this whole idea is totally baked into our language. Think about it. We waste time, we save it, we spend it. We treat it like it's a substance, a commodity you can run out of. And this isn't just a quirky way of talking. It actually shapes how we perceive what time even is. Okay, and here's the real kicker. That intuitive feeling, that whole flowing river thing, it's a great story, but that's all it is, a story. Because when you actually look at the science, when you look at physics, there's no single universally accepted definition. There's no equation for a flow of time. So we've got this massive gap between what we feel and what science can actually describe.
So, to get to the bottom of this, we need to take a step back. Let's forget about time for just a second. We need to ask an even more basic question. How do we actually measure, well, anything?
Think about how measurement actually works. It's super simple. When you measure how long something is, you're not capturing some magical essence of length. You're just comparing it to a ruler. That's it. When you weigh something, you're not isolating a substance called mass. You're just comparing it to a standard weight on a scale. The fundamental act is always comparison.
Right. So the crucial point is this. All measurement is, at its core, an act of comparison. It's not about capturing some invisible thing. It's just comparing one process to an agreed-upon reference process. And I'm telling you, that one simple idea, that's the key that's going to unlock this whole mystery.
All right, so now we've got our core principle. Measurement is comparison. Let's use that to build a new, more accurate model of time right from the ground up. You see, how we think about time didn't just pop into existence. It evolved. At first, it was just observational. This happened before that. Simple. Then we got a little more clever and started comparing things to natural cycles, the sun going up and down, the phases of the moon. After that, we got instrumental. We built clocks to make our own reliable repeating processes. And then came the final huge leap. We created this abstract idea of a perfect, uniform scale, something separate from any one physical clock. And that brings us right here to the solution. This is our new operational definition. Ready? Time is an idealized abstraction of a reference process relative to which we determine the durations of other processes. So what does that actually mean? It means time isn't a river. It's the scale, the ruler we invented to compare how long one thing takes, say running a race, to how long our reference thing takes, like the ticking of a stopwatch.
And here's the mind-blowing part. In other words, a clock doesn't measure time. A clock is time. Or, okay, to be more precise, it's the reference process we've all agreed to use. It's not dipping a bucket into some cosmic river. The clock's own regular, repeating process is the standard. We're simply comparing everything else to the clock.
And that little mistake we all make thinking time is a real physical thing? Well, it actually has a name. It's called hypostatization. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but all it means is you're making a common logical error. You're treating a mental concept, an abstraction, as if it's a real physical thing out there in the world. Our whole flowing river idea, that's a textbook case of this. So you might be thinking, okay, so what? Why does getting this definition right actually matter? Well, this shift in perspective isn't just a game of words. It has some pretty profound implications. So what does this new definition really do for us?
Well, for one, it completely demystifies the flow of time, showing it's just an artifact of our language, not a property of the universe. It also clarifies that clocks are just reliable reference points, not magical meters. This simplifies our model of reality. It's like Occam's razor. We don't need to invent this extra time entity. And it brilliantly shows just how powerfully our language and our culture can shape our scientific ideas.
I think this quote just captures it perfectly. Things don't happen in time. Things just happen. Physical processes unfold, change occurs, and time is simply the intellectual tool, the abstract ruler that we invented to measure and compare all those changes. So I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. If time isn't a river that's just carrying you along, but instead it's a tool for comparison, a scale that you use to measure change, what's the reference process you're comparing your own life against? Something to think about. Thanks for watching.